And oh man, now when it comes down to comparing Ghost Files to Unsolved Supernatural, it's an easy pick. I pick Unsolved every time. But when it comes to comparing Ruining History from Buzzfeed to Watcher's Puppet History, my goodness, it's difficult to pick. Now I will say this much. Ruining History only had one season. There was only one season on BuzzFeed. It was 9 episodes long. So you can tell that, in my opinion, Ruining History is pretty solid compared to Puppet History, which has had multiple seasons and way more than 9 episodes. Yet I still find it difficult to compare which show is better. Now, I think a funny yet relevant comparison is this. Think about Cartoon Network, where you have Teen Titans, which is beloved by fans of the original series. And then you got Teen Titans Go, which is polarizing. But it's the SpongeBob of Cartoon Network. It has lasted so long and it's so popular. It has its haters, but at the end of the day, it brings in a lot of money for the network, specifically in terms of merchandise and whatnot, which unfortunately the original series doesn't do or didn't do at its time. So even though one series definitely has a stronger fan base in terms of, well, I love the writing and the character development, while this show is just silly and stupid, well, the numbers don't lie. And even though it is difficult for me to pick, let's break it down. Ruining History, 9 episodes, but each one of those episodes I love to death. Shane definitely brought the A game of like the cool history teacher that tries to make learning fun, and he succeeds without even trying. I mean, when you look at Ruining History, and if you have not watched it, go to BuzzFeed, type in Ruining History. I promise you won't regret it. If you are a Puppet History fan, go back and look at that series, because there were so many bits and pieces of Ruining History which you could tell were the foundation of where Puppet History came from. Because guess what? You know, like the little puppets that, and I'm not talking about the professor specifically, but the little puppets which are like cutouts of the different historical figures that Shane talks about. He did some of those things in the Ruining History series. I think one of the prominent examples was the deceitful imposter king of Persia, where he has like, little paper cutouts of different, historical characters. And it just really was cool. So, when I think of Puppet History, you have Shane as the professor. Well, I'm sorry, Shane Madej. Who's Shane? We only have the professor, even though Shane technically showed up when Ryan was being held hostage by the AI professor. So whatever. So yeah, you got the professor who is teaching Ryan and another student, and is basically ruining history. But Shane went the extra mile to create an elaborate backstory and plot line that starts in season 1, leading into all the following seasons, with the professor and the genie, and then Ryan always losing the coveted cup of the history master and the jelly beans. And then that leads into the whole storyline of the professor getting eaten and then born again, and he has a different look and whatnot. And I think I said in one of my other videos that it's funny when you think about the comparison of the original professor to the new professor. It's just like the dark skin Aunt Viv and light skin Aunt Viv on the Fresh Prince. The same character but portrayed by different actresses, or in this case 2 different puppets. And I just love it. But I think I appreciate Puppet History a little bit more because Shane got me to care about a furry blue ball sack. And I hate myself for it because I feel for the professor. Yet Ruining History had a bigger class. It was Shane, it was Ryan, it was Sarah, and there would be 2 kind of alternating guests. Katie would be there. And basically, many of the guests from Ruining History, I believe, have made appearances in Puppet History at one point or another. Yeah. So when I think of the history element, I don't really know what Shane's like hobbies are outside of Watcher. I mean, obviously puppet making and songwriting, because the dude not only teaches a history lesson, he doesn't just expand on the lore of the professor. This man is a songwriter. Now, I didn't check the credits. Maybe he has other people writing songs with him, but if it's only Shane doing the writing and whatnot, bravo. The dude is a brilliant genius. I mean, all the songs. Like, don't get me wrong. Some of the songs, I just look at them with a with a blank expression on my face, like Ryan. Is like, oh gosh, we're doing another song. But no, yeah, the dude is talented, and it's like Taylor Swift. No, give me the song from the episode with the not the samurai, but the Ronin, or the guy with the oar. Yeah, the guy who killed a guy with an oar. Bruno Mars, nah. Give me the bone marrow of Santa Claus. It's just, and the list goes on. So many classics. I feel like puppet history, to some, is Teen Titans Go, while ruining history is the original Teen Titans series. But I'm not going to sit up here and choose. Obviously, puppet history is the bigger of the two, given the fact that I guess BuzzFeed didn't see ruining history as a series worthy of a second season. Yet puppet history exploded. The professor became the mascot of Watcher. The professor and Watcher is like Olaf and Baby Yoda when it comes to Disney. Pikachu to Pokemon. You know? Hello Kitty to Hello Kitty. And the list goes on of like adorable mascots to their franchises. And I think that, the professor is the reason why, Watcher sells as much merch as it does. Like, I don't know what the merch sale numbers and whatnot are, but I'll tell you this. I don't think any other Watcher merchandise sold out as quickly or even sold out at all, unlike the Professor plush when it first came out. I remember I was lucky enough to get one of the orders when they first put them on the website. I forgot when they announced it, but I remember ordering a plush as soon as I could, because then I heard that, they had ran out and they had to do back orders and whatnot. I'm like, thank goodness. And I think I have a Professor mug as well. But yeah, the Professor is just such a marketable character. And you just feel the range of emotions from a character that can't even blink, which I think is very impressive. But I come out of every episode of either ruining history or puppet history learning something new. Even if it's on a subject I'm somewhat familiar with. Like, when it comes to Johnny Appleseed ruining history, we all watched like the Disney cartoon in school. We read the books, but Shane took it to another level by giving us the real story. I love the episode from ruining history of when, the British burnt down the White House. But puppet history, you have so many different elements. I gotta say, Katie is just a positive ball of energy and fun. She is easily my favorite guest on puppet history, and no wonder she comes back every season. She's just I've never met her, never spoke with her, but just based off what I've seen of her on puppet history, in BuzzFeed videos, isn't she? Yeah, doesn't she have like kind of a recurring role in Abbott Elementary on ABC? Yeah, definitely a fun person. So, yeah, I definitely think that when it comes down to it, puppet history has a smaller classroom, but more lore. Ruining history, it has 4 students, but at the same time, kind of like with BuzzFeed, when it comes to Ryan and Shane, the banter is what really makes it. In puppet history, you got Shane and Ryan. Well, sorry, Ryan and the professor having banter, but these two, they've had a rocky relationship, but we've seen them grow over time, kind of like an old married couple, or in this case, a weird couple between a guy in his 30s and a puppet. So yeah, but yeah, I love both shows. I think puppet history just has a certain charm, and I think the element of having a puppet makes him, so lovable. And I see kids loving puppet history as much as adults do. So I definitely think puppet history is one of the major reasons why Watcher is what it is today. Now, don't get me wrong. People have said, well, Jeremy, you make solid points, but when it comes down to the videos, Ghost Files gets some more views, and Ghost Files has live shows and whatnot. So even though Puppet History is a big series, Ghost File is arguably the dominant show on Watcher. Yeah, that's probably true. I remember Shane said in one, Q&A that People ask about a live puppet history show, but they don't do it because puppet history is actually a mess, because there are so many, just moments in the recordings where things go wrong, tech issues or script malfunctions or the professor's glasses fall off or whatever. But those are my favorite moments of puppet history, where we see the rainbow screen going beep, and then it's like, we'll be right back. I just love it. It just seems like, even though there are some elements of the show that are scripted, there are moments where I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem to be scripted. It definitely seems to be ad-libs, and it works. So yeah, I'm not going to sit up here and say I like one series over the other. I can rewatch any episode of Ruining History or Puppet History any day of the week. It's just that if I could say one thing that Puppet History has over Ruining History, it's just that there's more episodes to go revisit. That's simply it. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Look, regardless of how you feel about the recent Watcher situation with the streaming service and all the guys are greedy, can we all agree that Shane Madej is a freaking genius when it comes to just making history and learning fun? Can we agree on that? All right, well, with that being said, take a moment to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate the support. Check out my other Watcher content in the Watcher playlist, and I'll catch you in the next video.